bringing you the latest news, game updates, insights, highlights, and everything Liberty Hockey. This is Rock the Rink, where Liberty Hockey lives.
Welcome back to the Rock the Rink podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Our off-season coverage continues now with a very special guest. We've heard a lot about him in the past few weeks, Ben Hughes. Coach, how you doing? How's the off-season been treating you?
Great. Yeah, it's been going good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Coach, the big news, you're moving up to D1 to take the job as the D coach. Could you just start out by telling us, what made that job the right fit for you, and how's it been so far? I know early on recruiting and all that going.
Yeah, I mean, it's super humbling to be a part of. Been coaching, head coach of D2 for 8 years. So I think the thing for me is that week of the transition into the role and having, Coach Jeff, stepping away. That was just a very good but heavy week, to talk to the team about, but then also be able to see kind of what Jeff has done for the last 20 years and just the legacy he's leaving behind, and just honoring him and in that endeavor. And so that sounds kind of cliche, but I would say that was the focus for that time. And now it's starting to set in, and making a lot of calls and just trying to get players here and beef up the roster. So I think holistically it's been awesome.
What are you most looking forward to from going from a head coach position where there's a lot different responsibilities, going into now an assistant coaching role, and maybe more focused on the D side of things?
Yeah, I was a defenseman myself. I'm passionate
Where
about
did you
the
play?
D. Come on.
Okay, we'll skip that question.
The audience can EP it. So.
Yeah.
I think I'm really excited to go deeper. Excited to go deeper with the guys, relationally, on the ice, holistically too, whether it's, spiritually, academically, professionally. I'm excited just to go deeper, especially with, whether you have 6, 7, 8 defensemen, I'm going to be, running the PK as well. So
Very
just
cool.
excited to have just more in-depth, cohorts of groups and to go deeper with.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And when you were hired, that was kind of my first thought was hey, I think this is a guy who's a good fit to develop these 8 to 9 players, not only as players but as young men. Obviously, we go to the same church, and I see you serving there. So I think that's a natural good fit. So congrats on the job, and I think it's well deserved.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. You need help getting to your seat?
Yeah.
All right. I
can see in the dark.
Real quick, Fourth, can you just kind of show the camera what you got on today? You're kind of
this old thing. Yeah, I mean sometimes they got to get out and walk around. They start barking at me.
Walk around.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe another one another time. So yeah.
Well, we'd be remiss to not talk about your final season with men's Division II. So walk us through this past year, because obviously it was unfortunately for you guys came in with a lot of promise. Then I feel like unlike any other year in your 8-year career, the injury bug hit you guys pretty hard this season. But you guys still persevered and finished again top 2 in the Southeast, and then also made it back to nationals. So talk a little about this past year.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting some of those points. I think when you're going into a game against a team like Florida or Lindenwood or some of these powerhouses as well, and you have 5 defensemen and 9 forwards all out of our control,
right.
At times. And, there's times where we're going into pregame meetings as a staff and as players, and our formation on the ice looks more like a soccer formation than a hockey formation. We're like, okay. But I think the fun part about it was how can we get creative to make a difference and to win the game. And I think having that buy-in from the players was huge, and them seeing, us trying to make it work and being creative in different moments and creating opportunities to set us up for success regardless of the circumstance. Hopefully that was portrayed to the players. And I think what we did culturally again too this year, along the lines of, guys like Josh Harrell, Cooper Neal, Logan Johnson, a lot of Cade Pollock, Josh, all the guys that are a part of the leadership group there, that most of them are moving on now too. But again, the cliche answer, but of our culture of a legacy of champions. And I think building that in that process was in full display. I think it had to be every week because we were battling some type of adversity every week, and a lot of it out of our control. So I think it brought us closer together. You could make the argument that we were, again, 1 minute away from, moving on to the semifinal again. So that's just a hurdle I feel like that we've been kind of plagued at for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those, are frustrating, I'd say, circumstances too that hopefully can change one day within the league. But, we have to control what we can control too.
Yeah. If you take us back to your playing days and then when that career for you kind of came to an end, did you ever foresee yourself stepping into the role that you've had for the past chunk of years now and what you're going into now? Like, was that on your mind when you were graduating?
Yeah, to pile onto that question too, like, because you stopped playing. A month later, you're named the men's D2 head coach, which I don't even think you were prepared. Yeah, because I remember you're like, no, I don't plan on coaching. And then you're like, I guess I am.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because if you kind of look back at, all right, what did I major in? So I'm looking through like, okay, I want to do something in business, but I really feel a sense of something with people and some type of impact or influence for them. Again, I don't think this is a pitch for what I did, but I ended up going and doing HR. But a part of that was the blend of people and business, and lo and behold, what it is. But the whole training and development aspect and communication and connecting with people has always been, I think, come natural into strength for me. And so I think that's a big point of emphasis about college is learning who you are and learning like what strengths God has given you, and obviously developing different aspects and learning about yourself. And so I say all that to then come back full circle and say I don't think I ever intentionally sought after being a coach, but I think I had a piece and perhaps some type of discernment of like, I think I might be around for a little bit. And again, that didn't discredit, when I'm about to graduate, like I'm on calls with people in China about joining this missionary organization or doing this with a bank in Charlotte. Like my advice and what I tell people is prayerfully go through as many doors as possible, and God's going to open and close the right ones, and you're going to have the peace about which direction to go. And that's all I did. And I remember like yesterday, Kirk Handy, saying we're getting coffee together. We're coming from Joe Bean's, and it's in the in between. He knows I'm not playing anymore, but no, we don't really know what's next for me. Mm-hmm. And he's sitting there, and to his credit, I mean, he's challenged me in it, but also he's like, I kind of feel like you're waiting for the stars to kind of align a little bit here too. And I was like, I feel like they might be. I
feel like people that don't succeed just quit just a little too early.
And that just really started. I don't know if he ever remembers that, but I was going and being proactive in different avenues of opportunities prayerfully, but I also had a piece that like I think something's gonna happen though, and maybe that lit a fire on him to like help me do something. Probably did, but he did say that, and I remember, and so but I had peace about it, and so I think it was an alumni that came up to me one day. It was like, hey, in the Tilly getting food, hey, would you ever consider coaching or being something with Division II? And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know, like in the back of my mind, like, I don't know, assistant coach or maybe something, I don't know. Yeah, and then they asked me to be a head coach a couple weeks later, and I'd say the rest is history. So I don't think it's something that you ever were seeking after, and I think that's when I know is where God had in store for me.
Yeah. I mean, when you say the rest is history, though, what was that quick transition like when you become the head guy and you just finished playing yourself? Do you think that made it a little bit easier in a way that you kind of just stepped off the ice, you were familiar with the guys and the culture, and you can step right in and try to make that easier? Or was it a little overwhelming?
Adam Partridge, you guys remember him?
Yep.
Legend here. Shout out to Party.
One of the He's actually one of the men's T3 leading goal scorers in the end.
Yes.
The guy's on the fourth line. Like, I think
goalie transition turn leading scorer.
Yeah, I think points per minutes played, the guy's on fire.
On fire.
He just gets it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, look into that EP as well too if you want a good story. But he was calling me yesterday, and he said, congrats on just the transition and what it meant to him for us and our time at Division II. And he referenced that first year, and so I'll answer your question. But that first year really, and I tell all the guys that were a part of it, that was kind of we call it the land of misfit toys. That first year on the Division II team, you have a guy like Chris Lowe's and the success that he had at the Division II level, coming off of 2 back-to-back national championship
failures.
Games.
Sorry.
I said games. You said that.
Kidding, Chris.
I can't take my shots at that guy, so I got some catching up to do. But then the dynamic of they had some Division I guys cut that year as well as my first year as head coach on Division II, and then they had a big core of their Division II guys that made them very successful leave as well, and a lot of those guys I had played with that went from D1 to D2, and in fact even lived with during the year. I don't know if that's compliant to say or not, but
keep a close eye.
Yeah. And so really I think that actually helped though in a certain way, is because I just have to be relational with the guys, and then really learning the strengths and the nuances, how to keep people accountable and how to lead as well too. But I remember it like it was yesterday, and I think I was challenged and I was baptized by fire, I would say, in the coaching world. But I had a lot of people around me on a daily basis, whether it's Justin, Chris, Kirk, Kerr, Jeff, all the guys to help me figure out how to do it and stumble upon it a little bit. So, I look back, I'm very thankful for that year.
It's funny that you said 8 years. It's wild to think that much time has passed. Yeah. But I guess it's maybe hard to pick out one, let's say, road trip, but a memorable road trip or a memorable hockey moment in that 8-year journey where you're just going to continue to look back and be appreciative, or that you just kind of remember.
Yeah, I have one, but I'm usually really bad at these things, especially funny stories. It takes me a little bit, but I'll get there.
Yeah.
You bring out the funny in me, so maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll happen. The thing that sticks out to me is we went to New Jersey. I think it was right before, it was before COVID or right during that season. 2 stories about New Jersey, but one we somehow stumbled upon this family that was just living there. I truly to this day don't even remember the connection, how we got connected with this family, but they were believers. The dad was a believer, the mom kind of was, but they were from the Ukraine, and they just had they had a fire at their house, and they had tons of wood and debris all around their house. And I think we even had a game that day, but we were able to go in and clear out the debris. But just
wow.
It didn't seem like much, but to them it was super impactful, because that would have taken them either thousands of dollars or whatever to do, and they didn't have. And I don't know, so I think that's always a memory where I felt like, man, we don't always get it right, I'd say, but we just really felt like we were on mission. We were on mission, and I think, guys have been, throughout the years, especially, whether it's going to Applebee's and you're on mission there, but truly, especially viewing not just road trips, but everything. I was like, hey, we're on mission. This is what we're doing. We got to pray for them, got to share the gospel with them, and the other guys got to be involved with that too. And we've been on different trips before that have been similar. So that sticks out as one New Jersey trip. The other New Jersey trip, we weren't as fortunate. And we showed up. This is probably on me, but we showed up to the hotel, and I'm not kidding, the 3rd floor was burnt off.
Burnt off.
What,
hotel or motel?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the pictures did not do it. The pictures look great.
They didn't put
no. Yeah. They just had the lobby, and they had it really nice. And the rooms were updated. The rooms that existed were updated.
Okay.
They used the fire money to upgrade the room.
Yeah. They had a nice lobby, a nice area, a nice continental breakfast, and they had really nice updated rooms inside the ones that existed. And so that's the only pictures you saw. And so we get there, we're like, well, this can't happen, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were trying to figure out, scrambling. Christian and I were scrambling for hours trying to find a new hotel. So we finally found a new hotel, but we pretty much stayed on the bus all day and then played later that night. And then after the game, then we went to the hotel. Well, that hotel, and one of the bus drivers, I won't say his name, but the bus driver and the coaches, because of circumstances, we had to share a room. And that was the room that the three of us only got COVID. And
man.
only
Slap that on top.
only the three of us got that, and the rest of the team ended up being okay. But we didn't find out until we got back home that week, and it was just the three of us, and it hit us pretty hard. I forget what the second wave was called, Delta or something like that, but
Omega.
yeah, but it hit us pretty hard, and it was pretty awful at the time, and so we ended up having to cancel the next games. But it's only us three that got it, and the rest of the team was healthy and fine. But I don't know. That's the opposite story. So a really good one, a really bad one,
but memorable. Both
Yeah.
very memorable.
very memorable.
Yeah.
I could probably pull a couple more out of the hat, but.
Awesome. Oh, that's so great. And last question for you. When you take a look back at the season that the Division I team had, and you kind of look at the potential that this group has. I mean, they're knocking on the door every single year, so close to achieving that national championship appearance. How much excitement does that give you, knowing that, hey, not only am I stepping into a really talented group, but also I'm sure there's an insane energy around that team right now, just knowing how close they are to the next step?
Yeah, and I think for me, I just want to try to pour gasoline on the fire, right? I mean, I think they have everything that they need there. I think their forward group, the D-core, like everyone coming back, their goaltender, like I think we have probably the best goalie duo in the league as well. And I love our forward group too, and I'm excited to work with the D. So, I mean, again, cliche answer, but I think it's, for me, just pouring gasoline on the fire. I'd say practically right now it starts with where I'm trying to fill the gap right now. It would be on the recruitment side and making sure we're bringing in the right players, to move the needle on the ice and in the locker room, and continuing to pour in on the development side, especially for the D-core. So again, I just feel like I'm trying to just put gasoline on the fire to what they've already been doing. I'm thrilled, and I hope they are too.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Coach, we're thrilled to see what you do in the spot this next year, but enjoy your summer, enjoy your rest before it all gets crazy, and thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Well, great catching up with Coach Hughes the other day. Really exciting things coming up for him. I know everyone in the D1 program is excited to see what he'll bring, and everyone from D2 excited to see the next step that he's taken. And speaking of next steps, there's some new recruits that have been announced that have signed with the Flames and are going to be a part of the roster next year. Some pretty exciting names. And we start right off the bat with Luke Monroe, a forward. Reading his resume is pretty thrilling to see what he's going to bring to this team, especially considering, came from an NCAA D3 program. Yep. And then I played with Liam Cocksmith in the past. He mentioned he really loves the culture of Liberty, which sometimes is just half the battle. You want guys who are going to come in fully bought into what this program represents, and there's a lot more beyond that. A really skilled player too, right, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Like the goal for Liberty, and I remember we talked about this last year, right? We said when they were graduating all those guys out, the goal was, hey, you got to bring in a class that not only can get you back to the Final Four, but eventually beyond. First year, they got them to the Final Four, so hoping next year we're going beyond. But you got to bring guys now that are going to add to that. I think Luke Monroe is the perfect case for adding to what we just said, that he is a excellent playmaker on both ends of the ice. He's played at a high level during his junior career, and then also played some at a D3 level too. So he has that NCAA experience and changed it, which I think he's going to see that the compete level is pretty similar. So that's huge too. So but when you're able to get a guy like him to just be a part of your depth, I think is going to be huge for Liberty, especially from already a pretty loaded returning forward ranking group.
Yeah, no, that's definitely exciting to get a player of that caliber to come in. Again, based off of a relationship, it seems like.
Yeah,
right?
Smith, right.
You've talked about it on the pod of hey, this guy talked to this guy, called the guy a week before, and hey, we're going there, you're coming too. That Liberty's done such a good job of creating and building this brand and this culture that people want to be a part of, and it's something special. But obviously losing Calendike, Versolano, and Olsen, there's 3 big holes.
Right.
Top 6 roll realistically. So if, again, I don't know, obviously you got to earn your ice time in training camp, practice and stuff, but to see somebody with these kinds of numbers and played at a high level with that experience coming in, I think that's amazing and really good start for the recruiting class this season.
Yeah, I kind of Liberty softball is fresh on my mind just because of everything we did this past week. So when you talk about people talking to other people and a lot of excitement gaining around this program, it reminds me of Liberty softball just because of everything they just accomplished. Sad to see what went down in Oregon, but I mean, beating the number 1 team in the nation is unreal. But to bring that back to hockey, same type of things happening. You go to the Final Four again, and it only seems like things are on the uprise for this program, especially considering the freshman class that you brought in last year and everything that they achieved. So, hey, a guy calls up a former friend who's doing pretty well but wants to find a new program. Why wouldn't you want to, number 1, play with someone you did in the past, and then number 2, be a part of a program that is doing really exciting things, So I feel like that plays a huge part in it as well. And then the skill. Obviously, the skill is going to show on the ice, but then it's that buy-in as well and just that camaraderie that's going to be huge in filling some of those big holes this upcoming year.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, right? Like filling those big holes. Like Forth just did a great job mentioning 3 huge holes that you're going to be losing. A line that's been kind of a staple for you the last 3 seasons. Usually whenever Liberty needed some big plays or kind of help you lead the way, that line was able to get it done on more ways than one, especially in some big moments this season when they need to tie the game up, right? Like how many times have we said Versolano or Olsen or Calendike's name over the last 3 years? So those are 3 guys that you're going to miss. But if Luke Monroe can fill in one of those spots, then that's something I think the coaching staff is going to be excited about because they know all right, we got one of the spots filled. Now we just got to find a way to get 2 more of them filled, and which I believe they'll be able to do in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, and he's coming in at 6'1", 190. So you kind of look at this forward group. I will say what I really appreciated about Liberty's group of forwards this year is you had some big-bodied guys that were able to really make a huge impact in front of the net. I mean, you just think about that freshman line when you have Shields and DeMars playing together, and you have that kind of switch up with Cox-Smith on the other side of things. I really like how these forwards...
Cox-Smith is not 6'1"?
I like seeing how this group is being constructed as the years go on to go up against the Adrians and the Minots of the ACHA.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we flip on over to the other side of things. Liberty losing a hefty amount of their decor this upcoming season. I mean, you're losing Nate Cox, Kevin Bite, Laz Cable. We mentioned some other names as well.
Potential names of some other guys depending on injury and stuff like that. For a fact you're losing at least those 3. So good to see them now adding to those ranks, bringing in Mike Fisher. That's a guy who played some good junior hockey as well I believe he is going to be a great 2-way defenseman for the group. And that's what you need, right? You don't need – it'd be great if you got at least one offensive defenseman, but for the most part, your D-core doesn't need to really do a ton except play sound in the defensive end and contributing and getting pucks on net because you're going to get so much scoring from your forward group. He's kind of fitting that MO based off of everything we've read about him. And he's also a nice sized body. I believe he's 6'1" or 6'2" coming in. So already bigger sized defenseman too. He says his game is a 2-way game, hopefully more on the defensive side too. And then, if he can just chip in more in that defensive role, I think that's going to be huge for Liberty in the long run.
Yeah, I like that, Pat. I think you as a defenseman, I don't think you necessarily need to make big, huge plays all the time.
Right.
If you can be reliable, make simple passes, and you can play tough and play effective hockey if you're just in their face.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a big hit. You just annoy them by being there all the time. Good stick on puck, letting them know hey, trade paint in front of the net, let them know you're there, give them a little stick here and there, and just frustrate the other team. I think is super effective hockey, and it seems like they're on their way of building the back end that way. So it's good.
Yeah, and when I look at this past year, this past Nationals run, it's the question is what's keeping Liberty from jumping over that hurdle, getting to the national championship and winning it. I think that, defense is a big part of it.
Yeah.
You want to play more solid on the back end. So, again, you're going to have a lot of new guys coming in this season on that side of things. I feel like where you feel most confident in is, you got a great goaltender in Conrad Kausch that jumped in to fill the shoes of Hunter Verostic, which, man, if we were jumping back to last offseason, that was our biggest question, is who is going to be the new Hunter Verostic. So you have that confidence, and then I think just seeing the way your freshman forwards have burst onto the scene offensively. Defense is really the big question mark heading into next season. Is there anything else that jumps out to you, Pat, when you just think about what's holding this team back from the next step?
Hold on. Let me jump in here.
Oh, he's excited.
So
okay.
You talked about Liberty softball and getting to this point, but you even brought up a better point of what's standing in Liberty's way to making the final two, the championship game. I cannot help but to think of my Toronto Maple Leafs. The fact that I heard a stat, these guys are the stat line of the century, but the fact that they've made 9, it's an NHL record right now, 9 consecutive playoffs, and they just lose to the second round to the defending Cup champs, arguably the best team in the league in playoff hockey. Yeah. And the fact that what do they have to do? They have to keep doing what they're doing, but also I don't want to negate the fact that they lost to a very, very good UNLV Rebels team.
Yeah.
Right.
So the wheels fell off. Let's just call it a spade a spade. But the fact that they held them to what they did for as long as they did, obviously that's not the way you want to go out. But it's just such an interesting thing where hockey's so finicky. So off that question, just continue to dial those details, right? You got the goaltending, you got the forwards, we're getting that decor, and just tweak, right? So hey, the big scheme, things are working, but where are those details that which screw is loosening and then falling off throughout there? But go Leafs, go forever.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pat.
Oh, no worries. I mean, I like it because I can build off of what you were saying. For UNLV, I mean, said it before and I'll say it again. It was their time, right? Obviously, this is a team that's been working at a national championship for the last few seasons since post-COVID. You've been to 3 Final Fours and a championship game before you finally won yours. You've been to, that's right, 3 Final Fours. Yeah, okay. But so for them, it was just their time. And you look at the trajectory of all the past champions, right? Minot, unfortunately for them, they've had the same thing. They had heartbreak the year before, then they come away with winning. Adrian, Final Four, championship loss, then they finally win. And I know they lost in the championship again, so you're going to see Adrian renewed, even though they're losing some pieces. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing for Liberty right now. You're coming back with a hungry group. We talked about it with that freshman line when we brought some of those guys on recently, how hungry they were. And then even having some of the guys on from past season, right? Just how they said they came in with this fire. That's what you're hoping and expecting from the new group of guys that are coming in. You want them to have that fire. And then too, we've touched on, it's about tweaking some things now. Hopefully Coach Hughes sees those little details and says hey, let's tweak this a little, especially being a former player here at Liberty. And I think the thing with Hughes brings too that we didn't really talk about, when he was a player, his last year as a C, he was a part of a big culture change for Liberty, right? They basically blew up that team because it was the second year of the rink being renovated and stuff like that, and they brought in that big wave class of freshmen, and then they were able to hit a lot of benchmarks in that first season, including making it back to the national tournament and winning your first conference championship tournament title. So I expect kind of a similar thing here, or from him to bring that now from a coaching perspective that he'll be able to help with. But yeah, fourth, I mean, I know sore for you about those Leafs.
So sore.
Hey, I mean, I understand. I root for the Leafs because got a lot of Leafs fans, right? For our friends. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like Liberty is getting close, and it's just a few more details that they got to just work on and refine.
Yeah, and like you mentioned too, even a change as far as bringing in Coach Hughes, and now he's kind of, every coach sees things differently, so maybe what he's seen could finally be that missing piece that can get Liberty to go all the way like fans have been hoping for so long. So again, we'll keep our eye out for new signees that we'll break down for you in the coming weeks, but as of right now, only men's D1 and women's D2 have signees that we've heard about. Or was there women's D1 as well?
I know Coach Lowe's mentioned a few of them, but they haven't been officially released. So I'm sure in the next time we are on, we'll talk about
before
something.
their first game. I'm sure we'll hear.
At some point.
That's it.
So pen to paper so far, just men's D1, women's D2. Hey, we got the chance to talk to their head lady, Rena Leone, building some pretty special things with that program. Let's hear what she had to say. Well, great now to have the head coach of the women's D2 Flames, Rena Leone, here with us. Coach, great to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Summertime, I'm sure the rink is a lot quieter now at this time of the year. A little question for you. This might test your knowledge of your roster, of where, hometowns and stuff like that, but your dream vacation destination, if you had to choose one hometown of one of the ladies on your team, and you're thinking, hey, this would be a really good getaway for about a week.
Yeah.
You got to be there. What would it be?
Oh, easy. The Natters and then my incoming freshman, Emma Bardwell, they both live in Tampa.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it pretty easy.
Yeah.
What's in Tampa that you like so much?
I mean, only an hour and a half away, Disney World.
Disney World.
Oh,
So
yeah.
is that like the dream vacation in general? Like
yeah.
if you were to,
I can't sit at a beach. I can't sit still. Disney's the perfect, you can go wander around. I don't have to go to a park, and I can have a complete vacation.
Yeah.
So I'll
true.
resort hop all day long. So Tiffany, our athletic trainer, we normally go to Disney once a year, and she sits by the pool, reads a book. She's good to go for 8 hours. I mean, I'm on a bus, I'm on a boat, I'm on the Skyliner,
Yeah.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
So yes, it's nice to have 2 Floridians on our team.
Oh,
So.
yeah.
Anybody else from somewhere cool? No offense, Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Oh, I
But I feel like if I know you didn't ask me this, but I think Arizona.
yeah,
Because where is Hunter from in Arizona?
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale. Yeah, I'd go
I mean,
there.
Dom
Pretty nice.
Dom has a summer house in Mexico, so
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like people
Depends
got
what
options.
part of Mexico, though.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
We could just say a resort.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
bring up Iowa. I'm actually going there this summer.
Oh, nice.
And I cannot wait. I'm going to the Iowa State Fair
Okay.
in August. Yeah, so.
Kate will probably be jealous.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. I'll have to color up, maybe get an extra.
What's the Iowa State Fair famous for? Is it like corn tasting?
I hope
competition?
so. My mom just called and she was like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we're gonna go.
All right.
It's gonna be a great
Oh, mom.
When is it?
August, sometime in August.
Okay, Kate might be there.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out because that
Yeah.
was one of my favorite interviews we've had on here. So
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah,
either.
that's
make it
great.
happen.
I mean, we have a bunch of New Englanders too. So Newport, Rhode Island. We don't have anybody from Rhode Island, but we have Maine, we have Vermont. Maine and Vermont, but Rhode Island area too.
Yeah. Maine in
Stellar.
the summer is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so great. Now that being said, are there any vacations on docket for you this summer? that
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
Disney.
of? It's okay.
Tiffany and I are going July 28th, so right before everyone starts coming back to campus. So it's like the last chance to unwind. Summer camps are over. I
Yeah.
coach a summer team up in Pennsylvania. That will be over. So
Yeah.
it'll be the last chance to take a breath before it all starts again.
Yeah. I like that it kind of shows the work ethic, though, of Coach Leone here, because even when it's a vacation, she's off, moving, getting the steps in, just
Yep.
all over the place. She's not going to, just be sitting relaxing. It kind of
No.
shows you behind the scenes, always thinking, always going.
Yeah.
So that being said, Coach, I mean, this past season, it was a great one for your program. If you could kind of just sum up your thoughts of this past year for me, could you just, kind of lay it out for us?
Well, adding Coach Forth was a great addition to the team. I think my biggest concern is being the size of the roster we had. I wanted to make sure that all of the girls were being coached in a way that they would perform well on the ice. And not saying that our coaching staff in the past hasn't been at that caliber, but knowing Coach Forth and being with the women's one team and being able to kind of draw things out of players that we haven't seen before, I think we were definitely able to kind of increase our hockey IQs on the ice this year. In the past, we've had players, but we haven't had players who know the game well. So we were starting at a different starting point than we have in the past where, okay, if we want to run a system, girls understand what a system is, where in the past we would have had to break it down, kind of explain why and how, and now we're just going right into it. So we're kind of, where we have been in the past, we're I would say 2 or 3 months ahead in our season. With going into this upcoming season, I think we're going to be almost a year ahead with the girls we're bringing in. They all have hockey IQs. They've all played high caliber hockey. So I think our biggest issue would be getting our returners to almost the playing level of our incoming freshmen, which was a little bit of a struggle this year, where our incoming freshmen played a high caliber. They had played systems. They knew what we were asking of them, where some of our other girls who had played competitively with us weren't that competitive in high school. So we're kind of changing that mindset, changing that dynamic of the entire team, which is going to take a little bit. It's going to take a couple of years to get used to, but I think in next year and then the year after, we're going to be in a really good place. So.
Yeah, I think going off of that makes me think of a question of What do you think the difference has been in these last 2 seasons for you in the recruiting compared to years previous? Because it feels like almost like a logjam is broken loose, and the caliber of players that you've brought in, and then also this upcoming class, it just feels like the depth is getting better, the talent's increasing. Like, what do you think? Is it something that you've changed in your approach, or is it like, hey, these players are becoming more and more available?
I think that's multiple points. We were on the up, and then COVID hit, and then that kind of demolished the program because we didn't go to nationals. We made it to nationals. We didn't go to nationals. We didn't have a season at all that following year, and then the year after that, even then, not all schools were back. I think the freshman class that we just graduated out, so Gaddy's class, was our first, like, okay, these girls want to be here and they want to be competitive. They just don't want to be here and have fun.
Yeah.
So we were able to change that mindset on the team, in the locker room of, okay, we want to have fun, but we want to be competitive. So I think our roster size was maybe 12 when she was a freshman to where it is now, because we've had the players who are buying into the program and wanting to help the program. When we have recruits come, they are selling the program to them. So it's like, as a coach, you can sell the program all day long, but if they're going to go into that locker room, sit and talk with the girls, if they're not bought in, other girls aren't going to want to come to the program.
Yeah.
So I think between that, but I also, I definitely changed things recruiting-wise. Instead of me chasing players, I was kind of waiting for players to come to me and being more selective of who I'm talking to. So
Yeah.
I was I don't want to say wasting a lot of energy, but I was spending a lot of energy on people who might not want to come here or who might not be a good fit. And kind of, I guess the best way to say it is to give it to God and kind of, okay, put me in the right direction and let me talk to the right students who want to come here to make a better impact on this team.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And like, I think you were on the podcast last year and you talked about your team's culture and how Christ focused they were. And it was really cool to step in as an assistant coach and actually see that and feel that. So you've done a great job. And I think, like you said, the girls on the team and the leadership have done a really good job of like taking that faith thing by the horns and like really making that the focal point of this program. So overall, kudos, and it's a good job, and I'm excited to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to this season too.
Yeah, speaking of obviously kind of changing your structure on how you're recruiting, but now I feel like you finally have seen the fruition of all your hard work over the past few years. So can you talk a little about that, like the journey? I feel like, because obviously you were assistant player for a bit here, left, came back as an assistant coach, and then now you're the head coach. And then, like, first time, I feel like the last 2 years, Liberty's hit a lot of benchmarks. So talk a little about the journey, just like getting the program to where it is.
It's so crazy, like, thinking back, just as I talked at Club Sports a couple months ago, and I kind of like looked back on, like, okay, when did I come to Liberty? What was that journey like? And to kind of see how things are now, I'm like, I would never have thought this was a possibility. Between like the rink renovation and going from like a regular rink to like a bowl arena, and just having our department bloom and just have so many resources for our athletes, for me, it's an easy sell for Liberty. Like, hands down, I'm a Liberty person through and through. And I think when I'm talking to prospective athletes, they can see that I'm not trying to sell them something. I'm trying to kind of, it sounds so cheesy, but like, I try to want to make their life better, because I feel that Liberty, not only as an athlete and as academics, but just from the Christ Center, but from the personalities here, just make you a better person. And it's so easy to kind of sell that, but also being able to show it while we're going through the recruiting tours, while they're talking to my athletes, while they're talking to people who work at the rink. It makes it easier to sell this program and to sell the university. But yeah, it's crazy to think that, okay, 2005 came for college for a weekend, because I was actually playing at a school up in Pittsburgh, hated it. Talked to Kirk Handy, said, hey, is it even possible to have a women's program? Didn't know that a rink was opening in 2006, right around the corner. So was able to kind of get that conversation started, to see from like Women's One starting, what our Women's One team is now starting, and just knowing we went through so many hardships between fighting for ice time and getting recruits and not having funding, to coming back in 2013, and okay, the program's being funded now. We have some more stability to it. And And then just being able to work with Sarah Nimi, whenever she was her not married name, being able to play with her and then coach together, just like that helped make the journey so much more enjoyable because I had a former teammate, friend, helping grow something. So then when she stepped away, it was hard, but yet it's great when we have conversations now and I can say, hey, this is what you helped start and this is what I'm doing, but it would never have happened if we wouldn't have done it together. So to see kind of like 2017 is when I came back, and she had hit some ground with some recruiting, and the Nashville niche, we kind of started getting some more players from there. Stronger players, so Brittany Hagel, Alexis Early, to kind of get them into the program. I think once we started making some moves on the scoreboard, that's when people started taking our program a little bit more seriously. So I think it took, 2010 to 2017 for, not a knock on club sports, but for our program to say, hey, that we're here to make a statement. So I think now that since 2017, we kind of have been, I don't want to say trying to make a statement, but 2017, 18, it was the year right before I came that got the Breakthrough Award for the first time, and then we got that last season. So I think it's kind of, okay, we got over that COVID lull. Now we're into, I want to say hopefully our thriving seasons. So, yeah.
And going back to when you were a player and that whole experience, did you ever envision yourself stepping into that coaching role? Was that kind of always a plan for you?
Kind of. I knew I wanted to stay in, I've worked at an ice rink since I was 15, so I knew I wanted to be in the hockey world somehow. I don't know if head coach was really ever on my plate. I never remember having a conversation with Sarah being like, I love the assistant coach role, but whenever she stepped away and I stepped in, I enjoy it. I do sometimes wish I was able to take the hat off and have more fun, but you have to be the authoritarian sometimes, and that's harder. But at the same time, I'm not sitting back going, what if I could be doing this? Okay, I'm the head coach, I can do it. So it's definitely more freedom. It definitely can be more stressful at times. I always do the comparison game for our program to Women's One, because it's hard when you have, 7-time national champions. But it's great because...
Is it 7 now?
Because it's great to be able to, see what we can strive to. And it's hard... The pros and the cons. You have a great Women's One program to look up to. And I would say in the last 3 years, we finally have great relationships within our players, where I think in the past they haven't really talked at all. Yeah. So we have more communication, more camaraderie, more teammates. We now have more flexibility of going up and down. But the pros and the cons, okay, girls wanting to come and only playing on Women's One. So we might have players on campus who don't want to play on Women's Two. Or we sometimes have to have that attitude adjustment if they're playing on Women's Two but want to be on Women's One. We're now to that point where they understand that since we're competitive, okay, now I want to help this team win a national championship. So I think we've definitely gone over that hump. So there's more just cohesiveness within the rink now, which is awesome to see.
Yeah. You talk about getting through that lull after COVID and everything. How much did your leadership group, the one that you just graduated this year, help with that whole entire thing? Just kind of helping you achieve what you wanted to and get the program really rolling now.
They were willing to put in the work, which was great because they understood. They came in seeing, again, what Women's One looked like and what they've done. And they're like, we want to get there, and it's how do we get there? So them putting the work in on the ice, I will say, we were able to kind of be more competitive because in the locker room, everyone was on the same page, where we used to, in the past, have a lot of girls who either had just started playing hockey or had a very minimal hockey knowledge. So because we had girls who at least had played for years and understood the basic concepts, like I was saying, kind of now that we have players coming in, they already know the systems. We had girls who knew hockey, just didn't know the systems. So we were already starting with more hockey base. You can grow skill, but you can't really grow hockey knowledge. So by them already having that hockey knowledge kind of gave us that better starting point.
You've been doing this for a while now. Where is your maybe most memorable road trip to, or where's your favorite place to go and play?
Most memorable road trip is when our bus broke down and They sent us another bus, and that bus got stuck in ice, and our team pushed the bus out of the ice.
Wow, that is memorable. where was
Good
it?
memory or bad memory?
Yeah.
It was D all the above. Like
Yeah.
between like being stressed out because like Sarah was on the phone with Ted Sweet trying to figure it out, and then the new bus comes and you're kind of like, this guy's a little sketchy, but then our bus driver was like, I don't know, leaving this group of girls. Like it was a good mix of like chaos but like fun.
Good team bonding, I
Good
guess.
team bonding, great team bonding.
And where was that?
It was right outside Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. So I passed it.
Oh yeah, he didn't want to leave them. That's right.
No cell service, too.
Yeah, we had a guy drive up with a truck and tried to offer us cats. Like, it was.
It's like I could get rid
Yeah.
of 16 cats all at once.
It was very interesting. Favorite place to play? Probably Mercyhurst.
Okay.
That's more great atmosphere up there. I'm good friends with Tom McKinnon, their head coach. Luke, their assistant coach. He coached with me in at the Keystone State games.
Oh, nice.
But there's Tim Hortons, so
Yeah.
that's a pro.
Yeah, checks a lot of boxes.
Sometimes
right.
I schedule games against West Virginia and Mercyhurst just because I can get my Tim Hortons fix.
That's right.
Yeah.
Those are trips Fourth wants to make too, as well.
Yeah, I mean, my first road trip this year with you guys was West Virginia. I mean, it was a late start, but yeah, you had the Tim Hortons option. It's not as good as in Canada, but it's still, for me, it's still nostalgia, so it's definitely worth the trip.
Yeah.
I might be fourth. I don't even know where you're from. Where are you from?
Everywhere. No, I'm from Huntsville, Ontario.
Okay.
Kirk
Yeah,
is
yeah,
from
yeah.
my hometown.
Yes.
Okay.
Fair amount of Liberty faithful have been
Yep.
from
Yep.
Fort's
Came for a-
hometown.
Again, came for a CFA, and I was sold. I was like, heck yeah, why wouldn't I come here?
Yeah.
So my friend Sarah, her parents now live in Huntsville.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
so big full circle.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey, the more you know every day. That's right. And is there a moment that you can look back to in your coaching career that, kind of pinpoints, you have those moments where kind of like, this is why I do what I do. And it's like all of the journey that I've been on, it makes sense in this moment. Is there kind of a moment like that sticks out to you?
Yes, but it's not a positive one. So for me, not gonna rehash it, I left my undergrad program in not the best way. That fueled me because I was like, if I'm ever in a coaching position, I will never put an athlete through that.
Yeah.
And that's where and I had this conversation with my supervisor, and she's like, well, why do you do certain things? And I was like, just to prove people wrong. And she was kind of like, wasn't looking for that answer. But sometimes most of the situations, no matter good or bad, what would this person do to me? And I will do the complete opposite, because I want to make sure that every single female athlete that comes here is loved, is respected, has a voice. So I want to make sure that what I do as a coach in 10 years, I'm not being like, well, this person did this to me and it was traumatizing. So I want to make sure that everything, sometimes it's having those hard conversations, but any interaction that I have with my players, no matter what it is, I want to make sure they're walking away knowing that they're loved, that I'm showing Christ's love through what I do, because I don't want them to ever think, well, if she does this to me, then what would a non-Christian coach do to me? And that's where I get a lot of girls who come to this program, and this has been the last couple of years, who are talented players, but almost quit hockey because they've had so many bad experiences with coaches. And it's a lot of the parent coaches or the favoritism or just the secular world. But it's one of those, I don't want to say, again, prove people wrong, but I want that to be a safe space for them to love the game again and enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
And I feel like that ties. I feel like we've asked this question with every coach that comes on, but I feel like that ties to your culture of this team, right? Because especially I remember last year you talked about things, how you can talk or ways so you can show your love to the girls, because everyone sees it in a different way when you give them all the love language tests and stuff like that. So let's talk a little about the culture of this team, because I feel like that has created a big shift for this women's D2 program. And obviously everyone has a similar culture of training champions for Christ here at Liberty, but everyone has its own unique niche with it too. So talk a little about the women's D2 culture.
I think I give a lot of it to the players. So we have 4 captains just because our roster size was larger this year. We had 21. We started with 23, and then we had 3 disciple makers. Next year we're actually going to be up to 5 disciple makers because our roster size might be 26, which is crazy. But I think between having the 3 disciple makers and the 4 captains, there's enough girls given the ability to be those leaders, both spiritually and just a shoulder for someone to cry on, talk to. I think we have enough girls who care so much about their teammates that is creating that culture. So it's not, I don't want to say I'm not doing anything. I think I'm just empowering our girls to be good human beings. And by encouraging them like, hey, take a step back. What's going on with them? What are they going through? Why are they acting like this? Because a lot of the times they're not acting out because they're wanting to act out. They could be having bad grades. They could be having a bad home life. Like maybe their boyfriend just broke up with them. Like you never know what's going on, and until you take that step back and was like, okay, she's never like this in the morning and she's acting crazy or acting like not herself, what's happening? And I think that helps people, and before they're going to judge, they're going to step back and take okay, what's going on? Let's look at the bigger picture. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd say I'd echo what you just said as far as like you say like, hey, it's not that you're not doing nothing, but I think something that you do a great job of that I've seen is organize their lives so well. So like you say that like, but like the spiritual leaders are organized in the sense of like, here's the plan, here's what we're doing, so that like you take away half the questions for them.
Yeah.
So like organizing their lives like, hey, when's this road trip? Yeah, that's in the Excel sheet.
Yeah,
like
that's in the calendar.
So kudos doing a ton before everything happens, and then organizing the lives of your players and your coaches. So
yeah, we have a team calendar. It has everything. It has like our monthly calendars that have workouts, practice. So if everyone has a job, they know when they can put their time off.
Concession stuff.
Yeah, all of our itineraries. I'm very transparent when it comes to like team budget and like, okay, if we work this concession shift, like we're covering this part of the budget, but if you work this extra one, we can get shoes. So like,
nice.
Yeah.
They understand that.
That's a good motivator.
Apparel is a huge motivator.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have seen Kate at the baseball tournament behind the concession stand serving it up. She gave me some popcorn.
Yep.
Shout out to Kate.
Yeah.
Working hard.
Yeah. So crazy enough, I have 9 girls in town right now. So half of them stayed after graduation.
Oh.
And we have we had the Conference USA baseball going on, and then other graduations on campus. Yeah, I had probably like 4 or 5 girls working almost every concession shift in the last couple days, and I was like, okay, you guys by doing this just raised $6,000 for our team. So that's where it's like, okay, well, you'll get an extra piece of apparel, or I did make hey, if we get paid this much, you get half of it towards your team dues. So then half of them don't have to pay their team dues are already paid for next year. So
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, speaking of next year, you talked about it a little bit. Yeah, and we've touched on a little bit about your recruits, but yeah, can you talk a little about the girls you have coming in? And then, like, I feel like the needle for the expectations of this group have moved slightly a lot higher. So, like, what you're expecting from this team, because you guys, on paper, look like you're going to be a lot better than, well, I think probably ever.
Yeah. Yeah, so this upcoming season, I was looking back. I have on my dry erase board with all the names, and I was like, all of them, so all 5, we have 7, but all 5 who I've been talking with over a year now, they either popped by, signed up for our SLUP camp. It was very, very organic. So like Sabrina Honeycutt, she came to our SLUP camp last year, saw her play, and I was like, yeah, you're looking like a great fit for our team. She was sold. She's aviation. We're only one of like 4 programs in the country that have aviation and women's hockey. Done deal. Found out later she plays for Team Puerto Rico. Plays in that. So she probably played against Dom Duenas on our team because she plays for Team Mexico. Yeah. So at one point they probably played against each other. I saw my first ever IIHF 3-on-3. It was her playing Team Puerto Rico playing Team Brazil. Coolest thing ever. So Sabrina came, 1 or 2 conversations, done, sold. She was signed her name away. Pim, she's coming from Nashville Predators, stopped on campus. I gave her a tour. 2 weeks later, she showed back up, gave her another tour, hung out with some of the players, skated with us. Yeah. And then like a week later, she's like, yep, done, sold. Same with Emma Bardwell, showed up from Florida I think in December, skated with us, and like 2 weeks later, she's like, yeah, I'm in. Then we have Sasha. Sasha and MJ were the two that Coach Lowe's had been talking with.
Yeah.
So both Sasha and MJ have sisters that go here. So that's I don't want to say an easy sell, but like they know Liberty was for them. MJ plays up in Massachusetts, high school hockey up there. And then Sasha played AAA Junior Flyers this past year. So again, we have 5 solid. So we have 2 AAA players, one from the Florida Alliance, which was Emma, who lives in Sarasota, so another Florida girl. And then Sasha, she played for the AAA Junior Flyers. Then we have Junior Preds, Little Flyers, and then the high school Massachusetts team. Then the 2 other girls that we're adding on is Kelsey, her sister goes here as well, and then Abby Nakamura, her brother, I think, is looking to come here next year as well and play hockey too. So
Awesome.
yeah, so we have a lot of skill coming in, but the best part is they get along with our girls so well. Like we have a group chat already going. Almost all of them came to our select camp. So like,
which was huge.
Yeah.
It seemed like
Yeah.
like from sitting back and watching them interact with the team and just seeing them skate, I thought that was super valuable.
yeah, because now they already kind of know what to expect when they get here in August, but they've already started those friendships, so they already have the group chats going. If they need to ask questions about things I can't answer, they're able to answer them, so it makes it a lot easier. Is simpler transition when they get here in August.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. It just seems like the culture keeps on getting stronger and stronger for this women's D2 team as time goes by. So, Coach, we are so excited to keep on watching everything that your program does. We hope you have an amazing summer, a great Disney trip.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Been great, thank you.
Awesome to hear from Coach Leone. She has me pretty fired up for the future of this women's D2 program. I love the way she broke it all down. And I mean, Forth, you've worked with her this past year. Are you pretty fired up too?
I am. You know, it's been really good working with Coach. She's given me the blessing to take the reins in some areas. And she's not a micromanager. I think we work really well together, and I try to be respectful of her team, and I understand that like she's nurtured this baby for a long time, and so I just want to come alongside her and help the program, and I'm extremely motivated to continue to work with her and help her nurture these girls into hockey players, young women, and just see this program excel. And hopefully, I mean, I'm going to be blunt, and just a championship is just, I could see it. Right, like not to compare us to the Toronto Maple Leafs because I don't ever want to do that. But, like, it's not far.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, you love to hear it. And Pat, too, I mean, just seeing the way that she broke down how it's grown over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been around this program for quite a while, too. How have you seen the Women's D2 program go from what it was to what it is now?
Oh, I mean, it's been an excellent journey, right? And an exciting one, too. Like, I remember what she was talking about, that breakthrough award. Unfortunately, some bad history for them. They had lost a lot of games consecutively over a couple seasons. And then when they won that breakthrough award, it's because they put through like a streak, I believe, of 7 or 8 game win streak in a row towards the end of the season. So then that was kind of brought a lot of excitement into the next year, because that next season they made it to their first ever national championship appearance, right? So then that's kind of been exciting for the program, because that has led to a lot of success after that. They have won a conference championship. They've made nationals now 3 times since then, including the first time ever back-to-back national championship appearances and getting your first wins at nationals. So, like, it's been a long road, and, like, Sarah Madera was key in being a part of that road, right? Like, that she got to coach with, and I know is a good friend of hers, and she did a lot of great things in club sports too. So Rena kind of basically took the reins from her, and then like didn't let off the gas. And like COVID was tough. Like I think it's harder. Like a lot of people forget that too. Yeah. Like that the fact that they made nationals, and a really good team that made nationals too, and unfortunately they didn't get to actually put it out on the ice. And then the next year they didn't have a season, right? So that's hard to really rebound, because they lost some players in that loop because they graduated, or basically they only had a semester the following year, so they just didn't come back to Liberty. They just did it online. So like, yeah, see where they are now, it's really good. And honestly, on paper, the team looks better than it was this past year, which is saying a lot considering they had one of the best seasons the program's ever had. So it's going to be really exciting to see how that group goes. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. I think they're going to win their first DVCHC championship, and they're getting out of pool play next year.
All right.
All right.
That's right.
I
I'm very confident.
Yeah, and hey, hopefully no breakthrough awards in the future for them because
That's right.
Yeah.
Team of the year.
Team of the
That's the
year
next
is up
one.
next. They're thriving right now. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching the Rock the Rink podcast. And we're here in summertime, but we still got you covered. We'll see you next time.